Well, good morning or good afternoon, 5th graders. I wanted to go over your learning standards. Now, I know I don't have enough time in class, quite enough time to be able to get things done. So, I wanted to be able to use our time here on video to be able to share with you some reinforcements. I told you all along that this semester I'm going to be going over this tank and making it into a paludarium, or something that will showcase all kinds of different life forms within it. So this will keep growing. You guys remember last week I just had the sand in there for a while. It was just a total mess with all the sand going in there until we got it settled, and I did water changes, and so now it's nice and clean. Last week we had just wood and sand in there. This week I have taken the time to add plants, and you will notice snails. Now, last week we spent a lot of time going over your first standard, and your first standard was that plants get the materials they need for growth chiefly from air and water. Air and water. Now, most of the plants that we see around us outside obviously are in the air, and we can see that they get that, and we talked about the fact that they get carbon dioxide, right? And they use photosynthesis, and they're able to use that and make their own food and store it to make more of themselves or to reproduce themselves. So we see that process happening around us all the time. But these plants are aquatic. They get all the nutrients they get from the sunlight, or in the case here, the lamp that I have up there, and then also the water around them. So that makes them unique. This week too, we're gonna start jumping into the next standard. As your seeds grow in the windows, and I know a lot of them are growing in there, you guys are having some great results and doing some awesome observations. This week, we move on to a new standard. And that will be to describe the movement of matter among plants, animals, decomposers, and the environment. Now, the description that's below here will kind of have some instructions on how to enter the drawing that I'm going to have this week for you. But I do want to let you know that the snails that I added here are decomposers. Because I did that, I added decomposers, I needed to add some materials to eat. So I added some leaves from outside that are decomposing. They're in the bottom of the tank. You can see in the time lapse the snails eating those. But they'll need to be fed because decomposers need something. Snails will eat some live material, some organic matter like these plants, but for the most part they want those decomposing things. And so we have decomposers, and then we have producers in there. But we really don't have the consumer element. We'll talk about that later. We'll have some polls and some ideas that you might have and what we should add to the tank next. But if you'll take a look at the description, there's a way that you'll be able to enter the drawing this week. Next week we'll have the drawing for whatever it is that I happen to print in 3D in my class, and you'll have a chance to see what that is. But I'd like you to take the time to fill that out, and then there'll be a box outside the classroom, and I'll explain to you how you can turn that in. All right, so don't forget, there are two standards that we're looking at right now. We'll be going back and spending a lot more time on plants getting their materials chiefly from air and water, but now we're moving into that whole idea of matter cycling through our environment. All right, happy learning.